I mean, we've certainly found that amongst the staff and amongst patients, there's been people have been finding it really difficult to cope with uncertainty.
Mm.
I think that's um, you know the news that comes out is sometimes contradictory
Yeah.
and the certainty that people had and the structure that people had in their lives has kind of evaporated. That's applied to the staff that work in our
Mm.
practice, but also the patients. And where we are pretty close to Heathrow, and there's an awful lot of disruption in both airlines and also
Yeah.
all the other infrastructure that helps support major airport. Um, and so there's uncertainty around people's health. There's uncertainty around people's relationships with other people, with their friends and relatives. And then there's uncertainty around their careers. So I mean, obviously, the word unprecedented is used lots of
Yeah.
times, but this is, how do people? What do you suggest people? How do you suggest people cope with layer upon layer upon layer of uncertainty?
Yeah, well, so, I've for a while I've always thought about anxiety as unanswered or unanswerable questions. So when we know we've got questions in our head that we can't find an immediate answer to, or we can't see a future answer to, that's where the anxiety levels get raised. So, within the high performance sports setup, the athletes have anxiety about whether we're going to win, whether the conditions will be favorable. They have this exaggerated uncertainty around something that has become centrally important in their lives. But at the moment, for all of us, we've got these unanswered or unanswerable questions about day-to-day life. And that's really important for us to kind of recognize that. And there's a huge amount here to do with, I think the literature around self-compassion is particularly appropriate at the moment, because when we've got times of uncertainty, what we need to do is we need to meet that with self-compassion, which goes along the lines of, right, okay, well, I'm going to seek firstly to be kind to myself rather than judging of myself. So how I'm feeling about not being able to answer questions or not having the certainty I had, I'm going to be kind and not judge. It's okay for me to feel like that. Once we've got the self-kindness, we can then also think about the concept of, common humanity. In situations where we're uncertain, we probably tend to kind of remove ourselves, going, oh, other people wouldn't be like that. They wouldn't be responding. They are. These are human responses. And if we recognize the common humanity response, it helps with the kindness as well. We're not judging, and we're saying, look, and this is wholly understandable. And for us to show that we're being human by reacting in this way can be a source of reassurance for us. And then the other thing that we look at is the third bit, which is, well, if we can get the chance to kind of exercise mindfulness and be in the moment and attend to the things that are more present and more around us, it at least removes some of that sense of uncertainty, and we can answer, what am I going to do next? What can I do today that makes me feel that bit better? How can I take care of myself? How can I take care of others? And what can I do in the here and now? And by going through those steps of self-compassion and at least committing to seeing how well we can do that in these uncertain times, that gives us at least something to play back with. I recognize it's uncertain. I'll be kind to myself. I'll recognize other people are thinking like this, and I'm going to stay in the moment and be mindful and see how can I make today as good as possible and control the things that I can control. And when more answers come online, then that can help us kind of start to find a pathway through to answering questions. We might not get the definitive answer, but at least we can see that we're getting a bit more certainty. So is uncertainty decreasing, and what can I do to decrease it little by little? Because I'm not going to wave a magic wand and make everything certain in a short space of time. So those kind of things straight away for me, at least try and wrestle back a bit of control and give us some choices as to how they're simple frameworks, but not easy. And that's the important thing about this. And being kind to yourself to stick with it and be curious about how well you can do it is very important.